Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 23. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakah, nachainam kledayantyapo, nashoshayati marutah. So what do these words mean? They sound beautiful, but you know what they mean. Na, never. Enam, this soul. Chindanti, can cut to pieces. Shastrani, weapons. Na, never. Enam, this soul. Dahati, burns. Pavaka, fire. Na, never. Cha, also. Enam, this soul. Kledayanti, moistens. Apaha, water. Na, never. Soshayati, dries. Maruta, wind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Please repeat. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Purport: all kinds of weapons, swords, flame weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spirit soul. Okay, so here, just a quick note. You see here tornado weapons, rain weapons. These are actually unknown to modern man. Modern man's weapons are only fire weapons. Whether you take it, the gun, the bomb, the atomic bomb even, is still a fire weapon. But previously, the science was so fine that they used to have rain weapons, tornado weapons. These are not fantasy. They were actually there. By mantra, by chant, they can transform an arrow into a nuclear weapon if they wanted to. So this science was available even until 5,000 years ago. But these weapons are unable to kill the spirit soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of fire. You see, even in the army, they say open fire. It's about all fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Firearms were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. Nonetheless, the soul can never be cut into pieces nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless of scientific devices. The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance and consequently became covered by the illusory energy. Nor was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original Supreme Soul. Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul. Because they are atomic individual souls, eternally, Sanatana, they are prone to be covered by the illusory energy, and thus they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord, just as sparks of a fire, although one in quality with the fire, are prone to be extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Purana, which is a scripture, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita also. So even after being liberated from illusion, the living entity remains a separate identity, as is evident from the teachings of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. We will just continue to the next verse as well, because it continues on the same note. अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणोरचलोऽयं सनातनः. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Purport. All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole, and he remains the same atom eternally without change. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case because the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. After liberation from material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark of the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the Personality of Godhead. The word Sarvagata, all-pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire. The belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. If the sun globe were uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless. So these two verses give some idea about the characteristics of the soul. All these things that are mentioned about the soul are completely opposite of what we see in this world. Why? For example, let's take the first thing. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon. Now our body will be cut to pieces with a knife. It will be cut to pieces. But the point Krishna is trying to make here is that the soul cannot be destroyed. The body gets destroyed. We all know that. There is nobody in this world who can say that I don't die. We all have to undergo that. But actually the soul, which we are, does not undergo death at all. The soul is eternal. So all these things, fire, cut to pieces by a weapon, or burned by fire, moistened by water, or withered by the wind, these can happen to the body. The body can be withered by the wind, can be moistened by water, can be burned by fire, can be cut to pieces by any weapon. And the next verse, what is that? Achedyoyam. Unbreakable. The individual soul is unbreakable. Our body breaks, our bones break. Insoluble. Our body, if it is actually in the water, you can see if for a long time in the water, the skin becomes, very moistened. This does not happen for the soul. It is even insoluble. Not like, salt you mix in the water and it's soluble. No, not like that. Everlasting. Everything we see in this world is temporary. Nothing is everlasting. But soul is everlasting. Present everywhere. Okay, that will come to after some time. But you see, until now, the next one, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So these characteristics are all opposite of what we see of the material body. So what Krishna is trying to say here is we are actually separate from the material body. We are not this body at all. That's why it is said, just a couple of verses before this, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. It is said, for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So we take birth, but actually we never come into being. That's not our beginning at all. That is only the beginning of the body. The body is compared with a dress. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naroparaani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. So, you see the translation. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old, useless ones. Now, if I put on a new shirt today, I am not born today just to put on a new dress. That's it. So, by putting on a dress, we don't take birth. So, similarly, the soul, this body, what we call as birth, is actually just putting on a new dress. That's all it is. So, the soul is always there. So, once this body, we quit this body, just like yesterday we had another dress. So, we quit that, shed that, and then wear another dress today. So, like that, likewise, we should give up bodies and take on new ones. The problem is, we all are thinking we are the body. If I think I am my shirt, that is foolishness. But that's what we all think we are. I think I'm an Indian. Somebody thinks he's an American. Somebody Chinese. Somebody Japanese. German. Australian. So these are actually the body. My body is Indian. But because I am not the body, I am not Indian. If I am driving a German car, I don't become a German just because I have a German car. No. So similarly, this body is also compared to a vehicle or a dress. Actually, essentially both are the same. You examine the dress that we wear. It moves with us. Wherever we go, the dress goes with us. Now, because the dress is moving, we cannot say that the dress is living. You may say, oh, it is moving, so it must be living. No, it is not. It is attached to you and you are living. That's why it also appears alive. It appears animated. But the shirt is never alive. It is always dead. It has no life. So similarly, this body also, which is like a dress, we think we are living now and one day we will die. But actually no. This body is always dead. Even now it is dead. It's a dead body even now. It is being animated because I, the soul, am moving this. Or just like in the case of a car. The car, we have the best engine in the world, say a Ferrari, but it will not move until the driver actually, moves it. Okay, you may say they are now self-driving cars, but still there is a remote control. Without that push of a button, nothing can move. Not that something will move without a touch of a person, directly or indirectly. So, in any case, always the person is the one who is moving the impersonal thing. Like machine, whatever that, you see, like 60 years or 70 years ago, Singapore was a swamp. Because of the efforts of one person and his team, now the Singapore is a it's like, what do you call it? Metropolis. Because of the action of a person. If there's no person, buildings won't just come out of themselves. It requires an engineer. The roads don't come out of themselves. It requires an engineer. Everything. There's a personal aspect, personal touch to it. So that's what makes it animated. So similarly, that we have to understand. That our body is now animated because of we, soul. That's why in our subconsciousness, we actually know this fact. But because of illusion, we always forget it. Because of our brainwashing. We always say, you see, this is my hand. This is my hand. This is my head. This is my brain inside. My mouth, my nose, or my heart, my legs. If these are all mine, then I must be something else. If this is my dress, I'm not the dress, nor the dress is me. I and my dress are separate. It's just that it's attached to me now. So similarly, when we say my hand, my body, that means our body is something different from us. That's why we say my body. That means in our subconsciousness we are aware of this fact. But then again we become an illusion. And then we say, oh, this is me. And that's how we are taught also from when we are born. You see, even our identity cards, our passports, they have our face, or this is you, this is your name, this is your... So we identify with that body from the day one of our lives. So this is actually ignorance. And we accept those things that belong to the body as ours. Say our family, our home. Actually nothing is ours. Nothing is ours. We have just been put into this place for a while. Then we're going away. If I go to a bus stop and I say I own this bus stop, it's stupidity. That's exactly how we are. We are actually meeting. We may say we are family members, but how long? Maybe say maximum 100 years. You're together. That's nowadays impossible. But say, max 100 years. We're together. But after that we have to separate. So actually, if the soul is eternal, then 100 years is like a flash in time. It's like a flash. So just imagine if you are in the bus stop for about a couple of minutes or 5 minutes, and you have 20 other people in the bus stop there. You may make friends and whatever, but after 5 minutes you're all gone. Each one takes his own bus and go in different directions. That's exactly how we are. We may say now we are family, now we are this, we are that, we have friends, we have enemies, all these things are just in the bus stop of this life. And after this life we are just taking our own buses and going to different destinations according to our karma. So but the problem is we think that when we come to the bus stop, everything of this bus stop is mine. This is how we fight. And world wars happen because of this. This is my country, that's your country, I have to conquer you. I have to expand my empire. At one point of time, British, the saying was there among the British Empire at that time. The sun never sets in the British Empire, they said. It means wherever the sun is, it's still the British Empire all over the world. They conquered that much. But how long? It's stupidity. Like who's the one? Christopher Columbus? Discovered America? I always forget this name. Okay. Before he discovered America, it was not that America did not exist. It existed. Just that I come there and they say, give it a name and then say, now this is born, America is born. The birth of America. What birth of America? It was there before that. You have named it at that point. Just because I discovered does not mean it was born at that time. Just because the sun has risen, it did not come into existence at that point of time. And because the sun is setting, it is not that the sun is dying. No. And that's how actually we are also. Our so-called birth in this world is just like the rising of the sun. It's not our start. It's just a term of existence. And after some time, the set. That's what we call as death. So the sun is always there. Maybe not here, in another place. Yes. And where? That word is used, sarvagata, in today's verse. Sarvagata means everywhere. That means the soul has no limits on where to exist. It can exist anywhere. We can exist anywhere. Only we need a body to live in that surroundings. For example, we cannot live in the water. That does not mean nobody can live in the water. Just because we cannot live. The fish can live. And the fish may think, nobody can live on land. Oh, that's impossible. But that's not a fact. We are living on land peacefully. Similarly, our imperfect understanding, we stretch it and try to imagine that, nobody can live on the sun, millions of degrees. No, nothing will last there. No. Those who have, we have earthly body, so we can remain on earth. So in the sun it is explained that the people there is civilization on the sun, a complete and far more advanced than earth. Even the moon has a civilization far advanced than earth. That description is there in the scriptures of how life is on those planets. These scientists, when they say we have went to the moon and all this is, we cannot believe it. At least from the Bhagavad Gita point of view, it's not a fact. Actually, man has never gone to the moon. So-called 1969, Neil Armstrong. Actually, it was proved fake. The Russians were laughing even when it happened. Because it was just a Cold War thing. Because the Russians sent the first man into space. So these people, the Americans had to send the first man to moon, to just prove that they're superior than the Russians. So we did it. Actually, if you see even scientifically speaking, there is 0.017% of chance of a man going to the moon, spacecraft, going there and coming back. Scientifically speaking. And that is even imperfect. Because according to Bhagavad Gita, we have information of how to go there. Just because I have a capsule or a space shuttle, like it's not that I can force forget about other planet. I came from India. With full disclosure. I came here 13 years ago, and to even enter another country on the same planet, I had to show so many visa, documentation, this credentials, this, that, just to enter another country. And to another planet, I can just go without any credentials? We can't force ourselves. Okay, not speak about another planet. Go to the water and live there. Can you? For a while, yes, maybe you can, but you cannot live there. You have to have a body suitable to live there. Then you can live. Yes, the fish is living comfortably in the water. But we cannot do that. When there is a storm in the ocean, the whales, the shark, they don't feel even nothing. They don't feel nothing, they are peace. But for us, on the ship, it's terror. Because it's not our natural habitat. So similarly, everybody has to have a body suitable to live in such a habitat. So in the sun planet, everything is made predominantly of the element fire. They have fiery bodies, not like earthly bodies like ours. So it's just a question of body, that's all. So this is explained, Sarvagata. So a person moves on in different bodies. So first thing we have to understand, we are eternal, the body is temporary. We are not this body. Because we think we are this body, we think we are temporary. We think we die. We all plan for the future. We plan from the day one, the parents plan for, you must study. Why? Because your future should be stable. Then after I get the job, then, plan for the future for the kids. And once the kids are there, no, plan for the retirement. Plan for retirement? No, plan for the funeral. Always planning for the future. But the most they go is to plan for the funeral, that's it. But that's not your end. That's not your end. That's the end of this body. First of all, I don't even understand why people spend so much money for a funeral. It's a dead body. Whatever you may say, it's a dead body. I mean, anyway, in all cultures of the world, this is there. Funeral ceremony is done pompously. But philosophically speaking, it's lifeless thing. It's just like a shirt. You have discarded your shirt. Do you celebrate or do you do a ceremony? No, not really. You just wear another shirt and go on. So the soul is accepting like this, newer and newer bodies. But human intelligence begins, spiritual life begins at this point where we are able to separate these two, at least in our head first. Later, when we are more advanced, then we can actually see it. But at least for now, we have to theoretically understand that we and our bodies are two separate things. Detached thing, at least in our understanding. So we are eternal and the body is temporary. Two absolutely incompatible things are put together. And because we identify them, we feel suffering. I'm going to die. That strikes fear in our heart. I'm going to grow old. I'm getting this disease. The soul is not diseased at all. It will never get any disease. The soul is ever youthful. Nava yoganam. It never becomes old. Why? Why people want to stay young? Why? Why they have this tendency? Everybody. No one likes growing old. Why? Because the soul is always young. The natural tendency is there because the soul is always young. It never grows old. And no one likes to die. Why? Because by nature the soul does not die at all. That's why we resist death, because it's not natural for us. But we think we die because we identify ourselves with the body. So this misidentification of ourselves with the body is the root cause of all suffering. Personal suffering, societal suffering, national, international, at any level, is actually stemming from this one misconception that I am this body. Even great wars take place because of this. Because I think I am the body. I think I am of this country. Or you are that country. We are enemies. We have to kill each other. But if I think for a while and say, this boundary we have drawn. God did not draw for us this boundary of political boundaries. He did not draw for us. We are the ones who build the fence and say that that's your country and this is mine. Coming to the bus stop and fighting for this seat and that seat like that. That's your seat, that's my seat. I have to conquer your seat. Does it have any meaning, this kind of fight? If two people are fighting like that in the bus stop, what do you think? Have to be sent to the mental asylum. They should not be here in society. That's exactly how we are behaving actually. The dogs, they do this. In Singapore, there is no stray dogs at this point. Maybe in previous generation, yes. But in India, stray dogs are very common on the street. So the dogs also have gangs. They're all gangsters. So here they say Abeng. All Abeng. So they have one street, two streets, they own. And then they also draw borders with their urine. That's how they do. With their urine they draw the border. And so the dog comes and smells. If there is another dog, they can smell very fast and they'll attack the dog. And often the dogs get bitten in the ear, leg gone, something. Always they fight and end up in horrible injuries. Always. In India it's very common. So if we also behave just like that, what is the difference between us and the dogs? That's why the society is going to the dogs literally. We're keeping dogs as pets, and we are also behaving like dogs ourselves. This is because of a lack of proper understanding of our real self. Because my body was born in this part of the land, I don't belong just because my body was born there. And he does not belong. Everyone belongs to God. If we all can have this understanding, then world peace is a natural consequence. You don't have to even have big United Nations meetings and all this. United Nations has been there for 70 over years. It will do nothing for even the next 7,000 years. If it does not accept this principle of universal fatherhood of God. They always talk about universal brotherhood of all humanity. But on what principle, on what basis can we be brothers or sisters? Unless we have common parents. Just artificially saying that, we are all brothers. That doesn't hold. Yeah, it may be lip service, but not from the heart. Because in the heart we still say, this is different. He's Chinese, I'm Indian. That thing always will be there. Unless, that's why you see, Pandita. Pandita means a person who is really learned, he will think like this. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavihastini, Shunichaiva, Swapakecha, Pandita Samadarshina. Sama, in Malay also, Sama means same. Actually, it's Malay, much of its origin is from Sanskrit language. Here, the humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana. Brahmana means priest, priestly class of man, or a learned man. So they see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast. So, according to Vedic culture, a person who eats dog is considered. There are certain class of people who eat dogs. That's considered very, very downtrodden in the culture, in the mindset. So anyway, a learned person, he does not discriminate. He does not, although he may see an elephant, although he sees all these different shapes outside, but he knows that everyone is actually a soul inside. He does not see equality only among human beings. They say racial harmony. Singapore, always slogan, racial and religious harmony. But that is limiting to only human beings. That's a very limited conception of life, of equality. It's a very, very limited conception of equality. Real equality means not only racial, but also, I don't know what the word is for all species. for all living entities. This is actual harmony. When you can see even an animal same as you. Because after all, how are the animals different from us? If you see the symptoms, there's nothing actually different between us and the animals. The symptoms are listed as 4. Ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha. Samanya maitat pashubhir narana. That means ahara means eating, nidra means sleeping, bhaya means fearing, and maithuna means sex. These 4 things exist both in man and animal. So if these both things are existing in both, then how come and what way they are different then? Yes, you may say they have lesser intelligence than humans. That does not mean they should be exploited by humans. Just like a mentally retarded person, say, he also does not have as much intelligence as a normal human. So does that mean we should eat that person? No. There is home for, mentally retarded people, there is a home. So they are taken care of. So they are also human beings. They are also living people. Similarly, although the animals may be a little retarded in their intelligence, what is the retardness, if there is a word? The only thing that is lacking in the animals compared to humans is that dharmo hitesham adhiko visesho dharmasya hina pashubhir samana. Dharma means is translated as religion. Religion means to first of all inquire. This sense of inquiry. Who am I? Who is God? What is this creation? Why is it? Why everything is existing? What is the meaning, purpose of our life? These questions can be These questions can be put forward by a human being, but not by an animal. An animal cannot. Oh, who am I? A dog cannot come and think like this. He does not have that intelligence. But for finding food, for sleeping, sex and defense, dogs have similar intelligence. They may not have atomic bombs, they may have claws and teeth, but the sense of defending themselves from danger is the same. In the matter of sleeping, the dog may be sleeping on the street and we may sleep on the queen size, king size bed. But after we sleep, do we remember where we were sleeping? While we are sleeping, sleeping on the queen size bed. No, we don't even know where we are. So whether it is on the hard floor or whether it is on a mattress, the pleasure of sleeping is the same. And the pleasure of sex is the same. The pleasure of eating is the same. I may eat in a very lavish restaurant and pay hundreds of dollars for my dinner, but the dog may eat something on the street or some animal or whatever. But the satisfaction you get, the hunger being satisfied, is the same. The nourishment, same. So it's actually what we are doing is a polished version of animal life. That's all it is. It's just packaging of, just different nice packaging of the same rubbish. If rubbish you package differently, it does not become something valuable. So, the soul in the human body, his intelligence is more uncovered than the animal. He's not in as much illusion as the animal is in. Because he can question his existence. Okay, what is it? He can stop and think. But nowadays, with all these gadgets and all this ever-connected world, we are losing that power to stop and think. Who am I? Why am I suffering? When I don't want suffering, why am I forced to? I don't want disease, but I get. I don't want old age, but I get. I don't want death, but I get. Why everything is happening opposite of what I am wanting? So this should be our question. The beginning of human life. Dharmasya hina pashubhir samana. As long as one does not come into this inquiry of who am I, he is called dvipada pashu. That means two-legged animal. He may have 2 legs. That's his only difference from the animal. Otherwise his consciousness is exactly like the animal. So we are very glad that we all are interested in this science. in this questioning. This is the beginning of human life. And it's not that you keep on questioning and there's no answers and you take million years to find the answer. No. The Krishna is actually explaining everything in this book, Bhagavad Gita. So he's answering this thing of who am I? So he's defining the soul in terms of what we usually understand. Being destructible or being burned, being what is that? Cut to pieces, and all these things which we can easily relate to. So Krishna is trying to give, because actually it's very difficult to understand the soul. There's a verse like that. Yes, this is the verse. Ascharyavat pasyati kaschidenam, ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya, ascharyavat chainam anya shrinoti, shrutvapi enam vedana chaiva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. The soul is actually very amazing. Okay, to give you an idea, I'll show you this verse. Of what is the size of the soul? Okay, you know that, okay, we have heard, okay, it cannot be burned, it cannot be this, that, but what the soul looks like, So an idea of the dimension of the soul is explained in this verse. Balagra shatabhagasya shatadha kalpitasya cha bhago jiva savigneya sa chanantyaya kalpate. When the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. So here we have an idea of how big the soul is. The upper portion, the upper tip of the hair, our hair, we divide into 100 parts. Take one of those parts, divide into another 100. Now that one part is the size of the soul. That soul, which is so atomic, smaller than the material atom, is so powerful that it powers the entire body. Just imagine in your phone you have a battery that's small and it powers the whole phone for about 100 years. That's the power of the soul. And the soul never deteriorates in its power. Whether it's the body of an elephant or a blue whale or a big tree, thousands of years old tree, or an ant or a microbe, the same soul is there inside all these bodies. So whichever body it occupies, its influence expands to the limits of that body. Just like a man riding a motorbike. It's that small, okay, from here to there maybe. So his influence is until there, from there to there. But when the same man drives a plane, he has control over until the end of that plane, and then the wings spread and everything. So his influence, his control, when he's driving a car, his control is that much. So his influence will, just like a car, so it's the same example. So his influence will expand to the limits of that vehicle. So how that vehicle is constructed, so the man moves. If he is sitting in an airplane, he will fly. If he is sitting in a submarine, he will be underwater. So similarly, if you are in a fish body, you will be underwater. If you are in a bird's body, then you will fly. If you are in a like this human body, you will be on land, walking. So this way we are moving. So Sarvagata Sthana, we are everywhere. The spirit soul is everywhere. Like how many of us are here? Maybe about 20, 25. But in this room, there are millions of microbes, virus, bacteria, all these things. Between us, there are millions of microbes. So there are actually trillions of living entities in this room itself. Just imagine. So that's the meaning of Sarvagata. Everywhere the living entities are there. So just whoever came up with this idea that only the earth is full of life, but all the other planets are just empty, is the most foolish person in the world. If I am an engineer, or if you are an engineer, would you construct a big condo and expect only one house to be full with people and all the other house simply for show? You think all those stars that are there only for nice show? Is it? Some light show. No. They all have a purpose. Yes, they look beautiful at the same time. This is God's creation. He creates things which are beautiful and purposeful. Not that simply useless beautiful thing. No, not like decorations. Simply decorations. Just for your pleasure for your eye. No. Yes, He provides pleasure for your eye, and also that is also full of purpose. That's all those luminaries in the sky are full with life. Just as much as this earth is crowded with life, every other planet is crowded with life. Therefore, we cannot really rely on these so-called scientists, because what is their source of knowledge? Their observation, their experimentation. But our senses are imperfect. How can we observe something perfectly with our imperfect senses? Our senses are full of limitations. We have imperfect senses, we have tendency to be illusioned, we can take something for something else. We can see a rope and think it is a snake and be scared of it. No, this is illusion. We think we have this body, that is illusion. We are not. So, we can actually be cheated at any point of time. So, based on our imperfect understanding, imperfect senses, okay, you may say, oh yes, our eyes are imperfect, but we have this telescope which we can see with. But that instrument is created by me, and I am imperfect. How can I see perfect with that imperfect instrument? I may think that that is a perfect instrument to see, according to my conception. But that's not the way to see. A blind man, you give the best spectacles, what does he use? He's blind. He cannot see. You may give the best instrument, but he's blind. How can he see? That's what we are. You close you switch off all these lights, you cannot see anything. Or you cannot even see things that are so near to your eye. Your eyelid itself you cannot see, which is so near to the eye, we cannot see. So far away we cannot see. Something which is out of this spectrum from the red to violet, ultraviolet or infrared, we cannot see. Only within the spectrum of light, small, we can see that. And that too, limited distance, near and far and everything. If the light is there. Under so many conditions we are operating. If one of those conditions are not met, or even if the oxygen levels in our body are different, we see things differently. Some hallucinations we will get. These things happen. So our eyes, all our senses are working under such condition, such tight conditions. But still we are proud that, I want to see God. Oh, you say, you talk about God, show me God. They have always challenges like this. Yes, you can see God, but not with these eyes. With spiritual eyes, with eyes full of love of God. Premanjana chorita bhakti vilochanina. Now, if you have love for God, then He will show Himself to you. He can show that. So there is a process how to see God. That is to please Him through devotional service, just like we chanted His name, chanted some songs glorifying Him. Maybe at this point you may not understand the meaning of those songs. But even by hearing, you have already started your process of pleasing Him. Just by hearing. Even we don't understand. Hare Krishna, we sing that mantra, Hare Krishna. So this is directly addressing the Lord and His energy. To purify us so that we can see Him, we can play with Him, we can dance with Him, everything. See? So this is the process. So we should not be proud of these eyes and say that, every other planet is empty just because I cannot see. It's because I cannot see the life on those planets, everything is empty. No, not like that. So we have to see through, this is called Shastra Chakshu. Seeing through the eyes of the scripture. Just like if we rely on our eyes, we see the sun as a very small point in the sky, very bright point in the sky. But actually it is not so. It is very big, many millions of times bigger than the earth. But why don't we see it like that? Because our eyes are defective. But then why we come to this conclusion that the sun is very big? Because from books of science or some scripture. So we base our seeing and corroborate it with the book knowledge, scientific knowledge, then we will come to a conclusion. Like, I always mention this point. When the spoon is half bent in water, half dipped in water, it appears bent. Actually, it is not so, but because of the principle of refraction of light, it appears bent. So if I have this knowledge of physics in my head and then see the thing, I will not be bewildered, I will not be confused. I know exactly what's going on. See, although my eyes still cannot see it perfectly, but my mind's eye can see it perfectly, can understand it perfectly. So that's the way. So we have to understand things through scripture. Why scripture? This scripture is not man-made. Man-made, anything will become imperfect. What was a Nobel Prize worthy theory, the theory of evolution, Darwin got a Nobel Prize, that was scrapped a few years ago. He said that does not make sense in all cases. Very, very isolated cases it actually makes sense. Otherwise, they say selective what? What is that called? Selective evolution. I don't know whatever. So the evolution is that from monkey or man came from monkey. But do we ever have any instance where monkey gave birth to a man or anything in between? No. When did that ever happen? If monkey has actually given birth to man and it has transformed into a man, why the monkey is still existing then? The Vedic understanding is that all the species of life are always there. It's the soul which occupies in different. There are 8.4 million species of life, and all of these are always existing. Always. It's just that we occupy different bodies, different species. Just like there are so many houses, HDB in Singapore. So if my rent is finished in this house, so I may move to another house. The house is already there. I just move into that. Like that. This body is like a apartment. Rented apartment. Never owned. Because if we are really the owner, we should dictate the terms. But we never dictated the terms. We never decided what body we were going to have. We never decided that we would be born in a certain country. We never decided that we would be born to a certain this father and this mother. No, we never decided anything. We were just put into this, and we will be evicted also out of this against our choice. Absolutely no control. Still we think we are the owners of this body. This is the illusion. We are actually like tenants. The Lord is the owner. And when He says, get out, we have to get out. Not even a single second we will get extra. That's why Krishna says, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. I come as death and take away everything. People may not believe in God, but death we must believe. Death is a must, everyone must die. So that Krishna says, that is my power. You may become the biggest man in the world, whatever. 1 second I will take away everything. Krishna says. 1 second. So we should willingly submit to the Lord, not that go against Him and then forcibly have to submit at the time of death. That is very painful. But if we willingly submit, yes, I accept, yes, there is God. Let me become obedient. In this Singapore, every citizen must obey the law. And if he tries, no, I don't care for the law, I just do whatever I want. But then he must still obey the law, because after he so-called transgresses the law, he will be held by the criminal department and they will give more punishment. A civilian, a normal citizen is also controlled by the law. And a criminal is also controlled by the law. But that control is more severe because he has tried to resist. But if I become an honest citizen here, okay, I willingly follow the law, then you will not have trouble. But if I go against it, then I have to forcibly submit. And that is very painful. So therefore, Krishna is telling, when we say Krishna, it's not Indian God. Krishna, why we say, is because Krishna means all attractive. Any other name of God in any other religious denomination, whatever it may be, actually is the same person. He has millions of names. But Krishna is the highest name because it includes all the other names. Why? Because Krishna means all attractive. A person who is all attractive, attractive in every way. In what way? The definition of God, Bhagavan, is explained nicely in the Vishnu Puran. It is said, Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashasriya, Jnana Vairagyashchaiva, Shannam Bhagat Itimana. There are 6 things which make a person attractive. If a person has any one of these things, even to a little extent, he or she becomes attractive. 1. Wealth. 2. Strength. Bruce Lee. Overwhelming. Fame. It's like a pop star, movie star. Becomes attractive. Beauty. You don't have to say, we all know. Then, jnana, knowledge. Somebody who is very wise becomes attractive. And last, one who is very renounced. Suppose he does everything very nicely and then, but he still doesn't want to take the credit. He just wants to stay humble. People respect anybody for that. Even to become a monk is revered in at least Eastern culture. Even the Western culture, the priests are revered. So, renunciation is not easy. So, all these 6 things, if anybody has even one of them, he or she becomes attractive. Krishna means, all attractive means, he is attractive because he has all these 6 in infinite quantity, with no limits. No limits to his wealth. He owns everything. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He says, I am the owner of everything. I am the owner of all of you also. Krishna says. Then, not only he says, he actually showed also. In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he showed a special form to Arjuna. Here you see him riding the chariot for him. But in the 11th chapter of this Bhagavad Gita, you will see that actually the Lord showed him a form which is very, very special, which is the universal form. It's called Virat Rupa. In that form, he showed that everything was existing in his person. In this couple of verses, we'll see from that. We'll see how it is explained. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhave Yugapaduthita Yadi Bhasadrishi Sasya Bhasastasya Mahatmana. This is what Arjuna saw and he was describing it. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once in the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. See this? At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. It's actually very difficult to even put it into words what you saw. But there is, description of some things. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Here, Arjuna actually explains, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower. Brahma is actually the first living entity in the universe. Even in other religions, the word Abraham actually comes from this word Brahma. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths and eyes expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle and no beginning. This is what Arjuna was seeing, you see. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs and discs. So this is where the description goes on. It's a very special form. So actually he not only said that I am the owner of everything, but actually he showed that he is the owner of everything. Because I can also claim today, I am God. Actually, in India, if you go, there are many people who claim like this, I am God. Ask them to show this, they cannot do anything. So don't get cheated by this useless gods. Go to the real God, who can actually do the real thing. So he is explaining. So he is the owner of everything, all wealth, all strength, almighty. We say God is almighty. That is just one of the 6 things. Might. One of the 6 only. When you say almighty, it's not a complete name of God. When you say Krishna, it is a complete name of God because it includes all these 6. If you say Buddha, Buddha is actually, Buddhists, they do not know that Buddha is actually an incarnation of Krishna. Because his mission was very hidden. He came and displayed himself as an enlightened soul, but he never claimed himself God. But actually he is an incarnation of God. He never revealed that. But in our scriptures, far before, much before Lord Buddha even came down, descended into this world, it was already predicted that Krishna will come in the form of Buddha and he will be born in this place, and his mother's name, his mission, everything was already described. This book, Srimad Bhagavatam, we are now discussing Bhagavad Gita, but there is another book called the Bhagavatam, which is far more detailed than the Bhagavad Gita. So there it is mentioned that Buddha will come at this point. This was written 5,000 years ago, and Buddha only came 2,600 years ago. So, Buddha means the enlightened one. Enlightened means what? The one who has knowledge. Knowledge is again one of those 6. And when we say beautiful, like Christ, the anointed one, beautiful. That is again one of those 6. So every other name of God signifies one or two or some of those 6 aspects which make the complete description of God. But when you say Krishna, all attractive, means he's attractive in every way, on all these 6 things. That's why he's called Krishna. So he is a complete authority because he has infinite knowledge. So whatever he speaks will be good for all time and all places without restriction. If I say something, it will be good for a certain place for a certain time. That's it. After that, it will be different. But Krishna's word is not like that. It is always true, evergreen, ever fresh. That's why you can see, you can read this book, the Bhagavad Gita, and even after 100 readings, you will still feel it is fresh. You will still feel it is very new. So many new things you can always learn from this book. So this is actually some, we can go on and on, but just 1 hour has passed. So I would request you to, further your studies, if you can come every week, and we have these books as well. So if you can take one of those books, especially we suggest this, The Science of Self-Realization, which is a very nice book, a very foundational book, which explains this whole thing in very simple terms, understanding ourselves, understanding God, and how to actually build a relationship with God. Now we are practically disconnected from Him in our minds. Actually, really speaking, we are not at all disconnected, because every breath that we are taking, the air, He is giving us. Without His supply, we can't even breathe. We can't even stay living for a second. So we are borrowing His air, we are borrowing His water, we are borrowing His food. Every grain of rice, nothing can be created in the laboratory by human. Everything has to be dependent on God. So actually, He is supplying us everything. We have a very, very intimate connection with God. Only thing we have forgotten. Like a child, who takes everything from the father and he denies the father. That kind of irresponsible child we are. So now we have to become responsible. We have to become sane. If somebody gives us something, we have to say thank you. That is basic etiquette. We teach even the children. But when we take everything from God and we say He is not even there, oh, I'm an atheist. People nowadays it's a fashion. They say, I'm an atheist. I'm proud of it. But it's not even basic etiquette. Did we create? We can say in the science class, H2O is water. But can you create H2O in the ocean? How much H2O is there? We are learning how to mix H and O. But God has already mixed millions of tons there. So that is God. So we have to learn only how to actually reconnect with Him. That's called yoga. Yoga means to actually reconnect. Yoga means connection. That's the real meaning of the word yoga. Now we are in a state of viyoga, disconnection. Totally disconnected from reality. We're in our own illusion. That we have to come out of. To understand, oh, I'm a soul, yes. Okay. I'm a part and parcel of the Lord. Oh, I have to serve the Lord. Oh, this is my life. So now we are serving every other thing but the Lord. We are serving our family, we are serving our boss, we are serving our customer, we are serving our country, national service to the country. And if I have nobody to serve, I will keep a pet dog and I will serve the dog. When the dog passes stool, I have to pick it up. Who is the servant? I am the servant. And you think I'm the master. This is our illusion. We think we are the master, but actually we are only the servant. Even of the dog. We have to wash the dog. Does anybody wash us? Wash our body? Bathe us? It's considered like a slavery, you know. But we actually do that to the dog. Just imagine, you see, and we think we are the master of the dog. Oh, I'm the master of this dog. The dog is the master. The dog is running, and I see every morning, you know, some people walk their dog, and the dog is running, and this guy is running behind the dog, and can't even keep up with it. Who is the master? So, in every case, we are always a servant. So why not become the servant of the greatest person, God? Instead of becoming servant of dog, it's just reverse. Instead of dog, become servant of God. Then our life is successful. So, I would like to stop here. If you have any questions or comments regarding this class, you can ask. Any doubts? It is a very, very big subject. What we have spoken is just a small gist of it. But there is a wealth of information in this. If you can regularly come, you will have so much to gain. And there is no charge. There is nothing. It's all free. It's available for you. This is not our knowledge. We have not manufactured this to make a cult. No. It's actually knowledge. We are like a postman. You know, a postman, what he does? The letter somebody writes. He just delivers it to you. That's it. He does not go and open the letter and change something and then give it to you. No. He's not a fool. He will just, as it is, he will deliver to you. So that's what we are. What we are doing here, we are not perfect. I don't claim I am perfect at all. But God is perfect. So if I deliver the message to you as it is, without interpreting, without opening and changing, then it is perfect. The knowledge is perfect because it is coming from Him. I am just repeating. That's why our Bhagavad Gita, if you see the edition of the book, Bhagavad Gita as it is. There's no malinterpretations, there's no concoctions of the human mind. No, it's exactly what is given by God. So that's why it's perfect. So take advantage of it and make your life successful. Don't think that this is some Hindu. No. It's actually a universal science for everyone. So I would like to invite you to kindly go upstairs, one floor up. We call it prasadam. It's actually spiritual food. So spiritually sanctified vegetarian food. So what we do is we offer Krishna vegetarian category food, and then after we offer it, then we take it. That's pure food. Actually, the next week we will be speaking about food, because food is a very important thing which we all need. But then there is two dimensions to food. One is the actual food which we eat and then satisfies your stomach. The other one is the subtle aspect of food, which is the consciousness which we also take in of the cook, of the substance itself, everything. So, how to actually purify? Because you are what you eat. So, what you eat influences your consciousness. So, it's a very fundamental aspect of our Krishna conscious life here is also food, how we eat. So, we offer this is called prasadam, mercy of the Lord. So that is there upstairs. So kindly proceed upstairs, one floor up for prasadam. So I will see you there. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.